If this is not the session you intended to join, you can return to Spot Me and select a different session. We aspire for every person to feel they belong at ProCon 21 and are working to build inclusive spaces in which all people feel welcome, respected, safe, and fully included. To that end, we encourage you to consider the following suggestions as we begin our time together. We invite you to rename yourself in Zoom with your name, agency, and if you're comfortable, adding your preferred personal pronouns. We have enabled closed captioning, and you have the option to turn it off using the button on the bottom toolbar. Please reach out to me in the chat if there's anything I can do to enhance your experience here today. We are thrilled to offer this multifaceted conference at no cost to our JCCs, which is made possible because of our very generous ProCon 21 sponsors. Each sponsor believes in the JCC movement and the incredible work JCCs accomplish day in and day out. The representatives are proud to be with us to share their expertise and offerings. We hope you will join us in showing appreciation for their support by visiting their booths in our virtual vendor hall. We also encourage you to connect with them anytime during ProCon 2021 and beyond. During the conference, you can use the chat feature to connect with them, and after the conference, reach out using their contact information as listed. We have a really wonderful presentation today. 3 presenters from the Merage JCC of Orange County: Scott Braswell, Executive Director; Julie Holdaway, Vice President and Assistant Executive Director; and Debbie Meline, Jewish educator. I'm now going to hand it off to Scott to get us started.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you all. And we are excited to present to you what is not an original idea, and you'll hear about it more, but a way for us that we found to really create community and to bring our community together in a really interesting way during the pandemic. So I'm going to ask Julie to share her screen, and we have about a minute video. Kind of gives you a general overview before we jump in.
The Butterfly Project memorializes the 1.5 million children who perished in the Holocaust. By creating ceramic butterflies in honor of each child, the project inspires people to learn the names of the young victims who had no offspring to carry on their legacy, to honor the survivors of the Holocaust, and to take action against injustice. The 400 butterflies, painted by members of the Orange County Jewish community, are part of the official count of 1.5 million butterflies displayed in communities around the world. The Merage JCC's vision is to ensure Jewish continuity in Orange County. By educating our children about the heritage of the Jewish people and enriching their lives with Jewish values, we will continue to build our vibrant Jewish community.
So that gives you a little bit of a background, and we're going to talk. Each of us, we're in a tight time frame. So each of us is going to give you a little bit of background. We'll be available for questions at the end. But we really saw this as an opportunity to do something very interesting during the last year. And so I'll ask Julie now to put on the PowerPoint. And then I'll speak a little, Julie will speak, and then Debbie will kind of close us out. So every year, our Merage JCC, we mark Israel's national holidays, Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, and Yom HaTzmaut, with a series of programs that we call reflections. From commemoration of Yom HaShoah, we look for a new portal into the history of the Holocaust, so that we can continue to teach the lessons of the Holocaust to our community. Among other things, we have used film, music, survivors' art to educate our members, but often the subject matter was too difficult for children. 3 years ago, Debbie Meline, who you'll hear from, our director for the Center for Jewish Life, saw the Butterfly Project at the San Diego Jewish Academy and realized that this child-friendly idea of focusing on hope would be an accessible educational lesson for all ages. Some of you may be aware, the Butterfly Project was launched in 2006 by educator Jan Landau and an artist named Cheryl Rattner Price. We are not the first to bring, as I said, it's not an original idea. We're not the first to bring the Butterfly Project to a JCC. The Levine JCC in Charlotte, the Tucson JCC, the JCC in Krakow, and others have installations of butterflies. And we joined the Butterfly Project initially with the intention of it being a one-time experience. But over the past 2 years, it grew from being, a Yom HaShoah program into a centerpiece of our JCC facility. I've been on a number of these, conferences, and I keep hearing this phrase that, ironically, the pandemic worked in our favor with this, because last Yom HaShoah, the closure of the JCC prevented us from being able to invite people to mount the butterflies they had painted the previous year on the wall of our Holocaust Memorial Garden. But the closure also, we found incredibly fortunate, because a donor came to me and said that they would like to help, but they wanted to do something really special and to create maybe a children's memorial inside of our memorial garden. So we then went back to Cheryl Rattner Price, the artist, and asked her to design something for us. So on Yom HaShoah this year, just 3 weeks ago, we dedicated the memorial. 6 of our board members spoke at the ceremony about the children in their own families who either perished in or survived the Holocaust. It was such a powerful experience that we already have other JCC members asking to share their personal stories next year. And we have people asking to paint more butterflies. One of the ways that I sold this to the donor was that this is going to be a growing exhibit. And we'll talk a little bit about that more, but it's really an educational program that is going to impact various populations. And we expect this dynamic memorial will grow over the next several years. I'm going to turn it over to Julie now to talk a little bit more, but I do want to say that one of the advantages of where this is located is that and Julie's going to talk about it as well, is that it's right next to our early childhood center, which I think really heightens the impact. Julie?
I'm going to start by sharing the poem that many of you would be familiar with, the butterfly, the very last, so richly, brightly, dazzling yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears would sing against a white stone. Such a yellow is carried lightly way up high. It went away, I'm sure, because it wished to kiss the world goodbye. For 7 weeks I lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto, but I found my people here. The dandelions called to me and the white chestnut candles in the court, only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto. The Butterfly was written by a 21-year-old Czech Jew named Pavel Friedman in 1942 while he was imprisoned in Terezin. He didn't know at that time that this symbol of freedom, the dazzling yellow butterfly that flew way up high to escape the ghetto, would become such an iconic image. Pavel was eventually deported to Auschwitz, where he was killed in 1944. But his poem was preserved thanks to the heroic efforts of Friedel Dicker Brandeis. She's an art teacher in Terezin, and she took 5,000 pieces of art of the children and some adults, and she stuffed them into 2 suitcases and buried them in Terezin before she was also sent to Auschwitz. Today, the butterfly represents to us the endurance of the Jewish people and the hope in the future. Butterflies didn't survive in the ghetto, but they certainly flourish now in our Jewish community. These giant butterflies located next to our early childhood center are watching over our children, inspiring them, making them smile, and reminding them that the future is colorful and bright. But how did we do it? Debbie's going to share the hows and whys of our butterfly project.
Okay. The Butterfly Project is a very accessible, easy to use kind of program, thanks to the really visionary thinking of the people who started it, Cheryl Rattner Price and Jan Landau. So we started by showing a movie on Yom HaShoah. There is a movie called Not the Last Butterfly, and it's about an hour long, and it includes not only a description of the project, but historical footage about the Holocaust. So it's a good program in and of itself. And there are a lot of other materials that are now available through the Butterfly Project, including a shortened version of that video, a 25-minute video, and then there's another 10-minute video. The best part about the Butterfly Project is that you get everything you need. It's actually a do-it-yourself wonderful project. The butterflies come in a box. A kit like this has 36 in it. You get the brushes, you get the paint, you get the ceramic butterflies. The most important thing you get are the cards detailing the lives of the different children who perished in the Holocaust. You do not have to be a Holocaust educator to do this program. You do not have to have advanced knowledge about the history of the Holocaust. It's really quite intuitive. What we did is we had painting sessions. After we showed the movie in our theater, we had people sign up for painting sessions. The first group that painted was our staff, because we wanted to have samples of the butterflies done so that other people could see them. So our staff and our board came to paint. And when everybody painted, the first thing you do at the painting session is you put on the table a butterfly and a card, and each person reads about a child. I had everybody go around and say the name out loud. And for children or for mixed age groups, that's enough. It's just a little bit of biographical information to know that the victims of the Holocaust were real people. They were not simply numbers. They were not just statistics. So we had groups come. We had our after-school kids paint one session. We had high school groups that came on Yom HaShoah. First, we had them meet with a Holocaust survivor, and then we had them do the painting. We had a synagogue group. We had the staff of the Jewish Federation and Jewish Community Foundation. We had a lot of different groups. The most important group, perhaps, was when our teens, our young philanthropists, met with survivors of the Holocaust. Many of you might have Cafe Europa in your communities. So we brought about 20 Cafe Europa members to our JCC, and they sat at tables with our teens, and they all painted. And it doesn't require a lot of skill. The glaze is fairly simple, and the butterflies themselves are easy to paint. But during the painting session, the conversations that happened were really, really wonderful. And of course, they led to the survivors telling more and more of their own story. We also found that families signed up to come and paint together, and parents brought pictures of their own family, relatives, great aunts, great uncles, grandparents, and they painted together with the child. And instead of reading from one of the pre-printed cards, they told the details to the whole group about their family. So that was really awesome. The painting does not take long. You can do a painting session in a half hour. We did it in our art center, in our art studio, but you can do it outside on a folding table. You can do it in somebody's home, as long as you put down a plastic tablecloth underneath. The painting of the actual butterfly takes 10 or 15 minutes, and then you have to have somebody who can fire them. You do need access to a kiln. So either somebody on your staff or somebody, a nearby, a local art teacher, somebody who knows how to fire the butterflies is essential, because the glaze, it's just one layer of glaze, and the butterflies come out really, really beautiful. So it doesn't take a lot of artistic effort. The most important thing is that before people paint the butterflies, they should see one of the videos that I mentioned. You can show the 1-hour video called Not the Last Butterfly. You can show the 25-minute version, which is a little bit more condensed, obviously. There's another one called Second Generation, which focuses on the stories of second generation telling their children, or the children telling their children. And there's also one about the power of art. So if you have somebody in your community who's enthusiastic about art therapy, they will really, really love this project. As Scott mentioned, we already have people who are clamoring to paint more butterflies. We're going to have a painting session when we have our open house for Memorial Day, we'll have a station outside in our Holocaust Memorial Garden where people can come out and paint. People do not sign the butterflies. They are not their individual property, unless if somebody wants to take it home, of course, that's fine. But the idea is that they become part of a collective display. So the display can be anything that fits in your budget. As you saw, we were fortunate to have a donor who wanted us to create a very beautiful artistic installation. But the butterflies can be very easily stuck to a wall. The material that you need to stick them to an outdoor wall is you can buy it at Home Depot. I forget what it's called at the moment, but it's really not complicated. Your maintenance team at your JCC can help you do it. You can literally stick them anywhere in any kind of pattern or freestyle that you want. I want to get to the prices because I know that that's really paramount. It's an affordable project. First of all, you have to sign a licensing fee because this is an international project. There are now, at last count, 268,734 butterflies all over the world. And so you do have to join the project. You do have to pay a $300, and maybe I just want to make sure I get the exact amount, $360 lifetime fee. So you pay that once, and then you are entitled to show the films, use the shorter videos, use the marketing material, and you are part of the Butterfly Project. The kits, a kit like this with 36 butterflies costs $180. We fortunately had a donor underwrite them. We did not have to charge for them. We believe that when we're talking about educational programs, particularly around the Holocaust, we don't want costs to be an impediment. So, so we didn't charge anything for painting the butterflies.
Debbie, there was a question about what was the youngest group of people that you worked with?
Our Club J aftercare kids did it, and some of them are six and up. So I spoke to them in child-friendly terms about the Holocaust. You can inject whatever specific lessons you want about, bullying and bigotry and whatever is appropriate for the audience. We talked about remembering children who are no longer here. So we had 6 to 12-year-olds in that group. It's really nice when the families can come together. It's particularly nice when there can be a grandparent and a grandchild together. But the butterflies, like we said at the very beginning, it's an image that is hopeful, colorful, youth-friendly. And the message is that when we remember people, they are not forgotten. And when a butterfly takes off and takes flight, it's a sign that there are great things out there in the future, despite what may have happened in the past. So we really feel like it's a child-friendly program. The movie, I will say that the Not the Last Butterfly movie, that's the 60-minute film, has some footage that is difficult for children. I wouldn't recommend that for children under age 12 or 13.
We have about 5 minutes. You want to open it up to questions?
Oh, yes, please. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Levine JCC, I had 48,000. Yeah, we were inspired by the Levine JCC. They do appear in the Not the Last Butterfly film with a beautiful sculpture in their garden that I hope to see someday. But you don't have to take it on in that magnitude. I understand that the Levine JCC worked with schools and lots of groups and really did a full community program, which is great. But you don't have to do that in order to have a butterfly project in your JCC. You can do it with 400 like we have. You can go up to 1,000. You could even do it at a more limited level if you just wanted to do it with, one classroom wall or something that's within your budget and that's within your ability.
We also felt that this was a great project to continue. It's accessible. It's not too costly, and it's something that you can continue to add to. So what we're doing is going to add to the exhibit, add to the memorial, to where the butterflies will eventually make their way from the Holocaust Memorial Garden all the way to our playground. And so the children right now can see the butterflies, but soon they'll be on the wall that is directly next to our preschool playground, which will just even add and enhance to the project. So this is really a future, and I called it a dynamic memorial because it will continue to grow.
And it's a great opportunity for collaboration with whatever Holocaust educators you might have in your community. You yourself do not have to be an expert on the subject. But there are lots of Holocaust educational programs going on. I know in Broward County, my home community, they are just now undertaking the Butterfly Project, and they're going to be doing it with classrooms in public schools. So it has the potential to spread far and wide. And it's just, and Cheryl Rattner Price is an absolute pleasure to work with. She is passionate, she is accommodating. She will even come and speak at your JCC, I guess once all travel restrictions are lifted. But of course, the best speakers are Holocaust survivors, and this is a wonderful way to engage them in a non-invasive way. If they are not comfortable just getting up and telling their story, they might be willing to meet with children and tell some stories about children that they knew, and paint. And painting is fun.
And that's what we found. You know, Debbie, I know you mentioned the Young Philanthropists when they came and were sitting with Cafe Europa, but we saw that the survivors themselves shared stories, and it really opened up the conversation, I think, a lot more organically than if you just put teenagers and Holocaust survivors in the same room. It's sometimes hard to relate to each other. But this was a really natural breaking of the ice, and allowed them to do the project together.
Okay, Daron Krakow, we will save a butterfly for you. This one has your name on it. So the next time you're out here, you can paint it, and it'll be part of our next installation phase of our memorial. We're going to collect another couple hundred butterflies, probably over the next year, and then take it to the next step, take it to the next level. Like Scott said, we hope we have a big wall to cover.
We have 2 more minutes. Do we have any other questions? Well, if you guys decide to take this on, we would love to hear more stories and see more pictures. This is quite a movement. I think Debbie launched something that many people here at the J are passionate about. So we'd love to see what you're doing.
Please, please, please write to me. I can answer any question. It's a lot of fun, and it's very inspiring, and it's something that you can do. Don't be at all intimidated. You can do. So feel free to write me. I'm going to put my email in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay. So if you have any questions about the logistics and about the timing and the scheduling, just let me know.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much to Scott, Julie, and Debbie from the Merage JCC. Really wonderful presentation. It's an amazing program, and it's really awesome to see what you guys have done out there. I have a couple of housekeeping announcements before we finish. Right after this session at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:15 p.m. Pacific, join us in J Cafe, our virtual coffee lounge, to connect with fellow JCC colleagues in a relaxed, informal setting. J Cafe is a great place to recap your day at the conference, chat about the latest shows on Netflix, and meet people outside your peer community. We're using a new technology called Kumo Space, and it's a really cool way to interact virtually. Tomorrow, start your day by connecting with colleagues at our Mindful Motivator at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. You can log on for only 15 minutes to set your intentions for the day and prepare to bring your whole self to a full day at ProCon. After a brief welcome, you can choose from one of several mindfulness opportunities / breakouts, including meditation, movement, or goal setting, and then spend 10 minutes doing just that. These sessions are sponsored by and will be led by instructors from Les Mills. And once you're in the right frame of mind and body, You'll be all set for the second set of enrichment electives. Find all the topics on SpotMe. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Hope to see you at J Cafe and hope you're enjoying your ProCon. Thank you so much for sharing, Scott, Julie, and Debbie. And thank you guys all. Have a great